plug it up.
You're live. I'm live.
Okay, so let them know we're out
live. I'm live on this other hangout. Yeah, tell them to look.
There you are.
You see me?
You got a yellow shirt. But you got there you go. There you are.
No, it needs to come forward.
If we come forward,
then
it's just you.
You'll be sitting down just now.
Just wait a minute. Let me plug up the mic, please.
I like that background.
Thank you. No 20 gloves. Oh my God, this was... Okay, can you guys see us and hear us? Oh my God, this was so horrible.
All right, guys.
Okay, bro. Thanks, Luther. Thanks, Miss BB.
We got 50% on that phone. So remember, you got,
live calls and everything. Okay, y'all. Y'all don't know. This has been our deal. We only got like 50% on his phone. And so, we're trying to get Daisy out of here.
She's underneath your feet.
Okay, Daisy, you gotta go, baby. Go, Mama. Go.
Come on, Daisy. Come on.
Go. Time to go. Okay, you can come back. Okay. So, I know, sorry, Miss Hill. I know, damn, sorry, y'all. Hey, we only got 50 minutes, so we gotta hurry. We're gonna bang out some news. First of all, there's a lot of good news out there. Second of all, stay encouraged. Third of all, there's a lot of awesome news out there. So don't let these little setbacks ruin your day, okay? Let these setbacks be a lesson to you. Tough times don't last. Tough people do. And a little internet ain't gonna stop us. If we gotta do it from a phone, if we gotta do it from a laptop, well, I don't care what the heck we gotta do. We're gonna do it. And I ain't gonna cuss. I ain't cussed in 3 shows. I ain't gonna cuss today. So you know what, y'all? Ladies first.
I am April BB.
And I am Mr. Brando, humbly presenting you the status of the Iraqi Dinar, IQD News and World Chat. And this is the hottest show on the internet. That's why I've got so many people waiting for us. Please, if you guys can let everybody know it's in the other chat to come over to this chat, let them know we're here. I apologize about the delay, but I'm going to go ahead and get started on the news. There's so much out there that I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it all, so I'm going to try to get most of it, okay? Monday. That's today. Monday is today, correct? Okay, so... March 10th. What's today, the 15th?
No, it's not the 15th. It's the 18th. Oh, Mr. Brando. I'm trying to... There's still people over there in the chat.
Barzani met with Fayyad, and they were talking about securing the government. They were talking about how the heck they're going to finish completion of the government. But the most important thing they discussed in the whole argument was the areas covered by Article 140 by the Constitution and the efforts of the parties to resolve the problems. He said it was stressed the importance of coordination and cooperation between Erbil and Baghdad in the security areas to provide a better future for the citizens. Now remember, there's this big push out there for those guys out there in Iraq to get everybody that is displaced in Iraq to come over back to Iraq and have an opportunity to thrive and do well. But Article 140 would make life a whole lot easier to transition if they had means to pay for things. The private sector development investment.
Probably people trying to figure out.
Yeah, Luther?
Fix your volume. There's too much feedback.
Oh, it's too high?
Yeah, it doesn't sound good.
Does it sound better now? Sound check.
Say something.
Sound check.
Weird feedback.
Try to get.
Sound check. Too high?
It's like you're really loud. And so that makes that sound when you're loud?
Yeah. Better or worse?
There you go.
Okay, so I don't need to raise my voice. Okay. So I'm gonna keep my voice at a lower tone, you know what I mean? Okay. Sorry, you guys. I am trying to keep my voice at a lower tone now, okay? They said the mic's too sensitive, so I'm going to keep my voice lower. So if it gets too loud, April's going to have to monitor the chat and let me know, so...
Tina It says a link's not working for her.
Okay. The Secretary General of the Council of Ministers will present a paper on private sector development, investment in Iraq at the IBC Spring Conference at the Mansion House on April 10th. So everything you're going to hear from here on out is basically all about the private sector. Now, that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. All this stuff that you're hearing about Iraq is being taken over by Iran. As long as they do business in either the dinar or in the euro, you are okay. They've got to go ahead and put guardianship over the banks that have been blacklisted. But if they do that, they will be fine. So don't worry. The custom authority will cause negative effects on the economy. Yeah, if you guys have custom tariffs and everything, and you have no way to pay for it because of no purchasing power, then yeah, those tariffs will be bad. The head of the party of the civil path from Somalia on Thursday surprised the decision of the customs authority not to require the importer to certify the certificate of origin, considering the decision contrary to the laws in force and will have a negative effect on the economy. We are surprised by the decision of the General Authority for Customs, which included the book issued by not to require the importer to certify the certificates or certificates. What they're trying to do is give a stimulus to the economy. They figure if they put too much regulation and stipulation inside of Iraq, then what will happen is it won't have a positive effect, okay? So don't worry about that. The popular crowd responds to the U.S. Department's accusation of involvement in murder. Remember, the DOJ is going after these Baghdadi people that they feel are bad, and they're going to come after them with reckless abandon. What are you looking for?
I'm trying to get people over. They're having issues, so just keep going.
Okay.
I'm trying to take care of that. Don't worry.
It was stated in the American report and it is inaccurate and does not exist on the ground, especially as the army and the crowd are those who have protected citizens from crimes and urge stressing that the United States of America to drown and do not talk about human rights issue. The world and its crimes are known to all countries. So basically, Iraqis are claiming the entitlement pose. They're trying to say, don't talk about us, don't do things about us, just understand that we're doing what we need to do. Iraq's had probably one of the worst human rights problems of a lot of countries. Probably not as bad as Saudi Arabia or Iran, but it's probably just as bad. They have to work on the illegal recruitment for children to join these militias and these other groups. I think they're working towards that. The monetary policy and raise the visa fees for Iranians. Yeah, my problem with Iran is this. Iran has put a foothold back into Iraq. And my other problem is this. This current administration didn't step in earlier and put a stop to this visit or put a kibosh to this visit and have people in place automatically that when these this mullah came over from Iran to say, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we want to do this, we want to do that. I understand trade about $13 billion, but now they're trying to increase trade to about $20 billion, and that's a lot. So we need another foothold in there so that when all this happens, that they are in a position that's not their only trade partner. Remember, the whole process here is to isolate Iran and not enable Iran, okay? People are hitting me up, y'all. Sorry about that. Okay, now, with that, you have... Okay. The central bank calls on banks to transfer. I don't know if we talked about that. I'm going to get back to that. Okay, I think this is super important. 2 economic research confirmed that activating foreign investment in the productive sectors would achieve a moderate trade balance. I think a major influence to all this is the trade balance. Without having a proper trade balance, Iraq would surely fail because it's not going to support their private sector. The economic researchers Amir said in an interview for Morning, the need to encourage foreign investment through the activation, the work of one windowed and provide special facilities for foreign and local investors, especially foreign investors. Without foreign investment, this country will fail. Iraq has an enormous potential for economic success, but these assets or resources were not promptly employed because of the absence of a vision for economic policy. Right. It's been a rentier state for so long, it doesn't know how to be a donor state. That's why its dependence on oil is so bad. So these guys need to have the forethought to say, look, we need to get foreign investors in here into an attractive trade position so that they want to invest in and they want to have allocations towards the foreign investment group. The development of legal work, infrastructure, and regulations contribute to the role of these projects. Remember, infrastructure is a big word you're going to hear from here on out until I think you see this blessing, because without infrastructure, you can't have any inhabitant for a prosperous environment. The private sector faces several challenges, most notably energy insecurity. Notably, energy insecurity. Remember when the GOI talked to you guys about security, they didn't want to revalue the money because of the security, but energy and security go hand in hand. So, but it is able to take the lead if it is given the government support to enact new legislation appropriate to the current phase of accomplished by a view to a positive future prospects. Meaning that they need to go ahead and stop the corruption. And how you stop the corruption is when Mahdi goes in there one day and says, I'm going to give legislation enough bite that you can go after the corrupt without having any problems of them wiggling out of it or buying their way out of it or something like that. That's the stability that they're looking for. The central bank calls on banks and transfer companies to provide financial information. You're going to hear a little bit more about the media circulated document that showed the Iraqi central bank request to investigate the money of former Secretary of Baghdad, Oudud, where the central bank requested the approved banks and all financial transfer companies in the country based on the letter of integrity. So they're basically saying that the old Secretary of Baghdad is under scrutiny. He may have fallen under corruption. The U.S. gave Iraq another $18 billion in aid. Now, I know what you're going to say. Iraq's never going to get anywhere if everybody keeps giving them something, but these areas are so desolate without anything in them that they had to give them something. So the United States gave them some money, and they're going to help them out. Customs facility. Iraq paid its first installment to Iranian debt. Jordan will start the studies to create a new free zone. I think that free zone, the part that I like about Jordan creating a free zone is that means that Jordan is still involved in allowing them an opportunity to start the whole ISX, because the last thing we heard was Jordan was starting the ISX with everybody else. Not everybody else, especially with Iraq and helping them get that forward. Okay, the U.S. is warning with the cooperation of Iran. This is the strong talk that I wanted to hear from the United States, and I failed to get that during the visit. The position of Iraq against the sanctions against Iran is clear by welcoming the President Rouhani and signing a number of agreements. However, this is a space for the U.S. with a specific area in which there will be cooperation between Baghdad and Tehran. Remember, there's always going to be an agreement between Baghdad and Tehran. There's always going to have that opportunity for those people to do business together. They've been doing it since the dawn of time. The government of Iran does not invest in its people. That's the key point. The government of Iran does not invest in its own people. So, how can they expect the support of Iraq and the Iraqi people in any way? That sums it up. So when all these things you hear about sanctions against Iraq and this and that, remember, Iraq is using Tehran for trade. They're making them do business in dinar. They're not doing business in dollars. So you don't have to worry about things like that. You see what I'm saying? The important part is that these people recognize that Tehran is not in business for Iraq. They're in business for Tehran. Now, Article 140, the leaders of the Kurdistan Department. I told you guys about Barzani. The major discussion. Brando. See how George is coming with the count on the IX. We're almost at 100. I'll get to that in just a second. Remind me to talk about the IX count. Iraq and China signed a massive trade deal, a massive financing deal. They're going to give them billions of dollars to help them out. And again, this is Washington. We are deeply concerned about the abuse committed by Secretary of Armed Forces. That's what the State Department, Robert Paladino, stated on Thursday, referring to the militias in Iraq known as the Popular Mobilization Forces, the PMF. Many of those armed groups are aligned with Iran. So this is my whole question. Why hasn't Iraq gone through Syria and northern Iraq and then come back through and gotten rid of these forces? Qasem Salami and his Q'd forces actively seek to use their armed groups to intimidate the Iraqi people and undermine. You have to go. Listen, if you're on there, this is number 260388. Is there going to be a show? It says 18 minutes ago. Y'all listen, I'm on another live feed, so please, if you guys could go back to the other live feed and tell those people in that live feed to come over here, send them a link, do something.
And just so you know, if you go to Mr. Brando's main page, that's what they need to do. I posted on Facebook, so let people know, and I'm posting on Twitter now.
Okay.
Some people are saying they're having problems with the link, so we got about 34 people stuck.
Okay. We're trying to get you unstuck, y'all. I apologize for this. There's 302 people here. I'm going to go a little bit longer than normal because we started later, so don't worry about getting in the live feed tonight. They're going to be here for a few minutes, okay? When the U.S. came to understand who Mohandas was, the U.S. troops tried to arrest him. However, he succeeded in fleeing to Iran and returning to Iraq covertly during brief visits, as long as U.S. forces remained in the country. So this Mohandas guy is a military kind of guru. I'm looking at him as a terrorist type person. He doesn't have any good, despite his background. The U.S. long expressed little criticism of Mohandas' role in the PMF, or at least not publicly. In fact, as of late in December 2017, the State Department, responding to a question from Kurdistan 24 about Iran's influence over the PMF, dismissed it as internal Iraqi matter. So, a lot of people say that these guys know how to manage best their own security forces. I disagree. I think they need to be under constant supervision, that these guys are not to be trusted, especially the ones that are Iranian influence. They are the worst of the worst. Mahdi prevents a bunch of travel for some of these independent bodies. He needed to. He resolved the fall of the body as soon as possible and accounting for causing chaos and to undermine the work of the bodies and keep them off track, preventing the travels of heads of body until the statement of integrity of their position integrity commission. So again, Mahdi trying to stop people from moving forward because he always feels that people are trying to flee or trying to run. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's important to note. The Central Bank of Iran imposed its guard over 2 Iranian banks. That's the news you want to hear. As long as they're stopping Iranian influence, it's good. The U.S. warns Iran of black. The U.S. envoy warns Iran of black Iranian banks. That's good. We want to see them put guardianship over those banks and to monitor them. So no U.S. dollars are being smuggled out. And I know you're going to hear lots of talk of people saying, oh, that's just an Iranian puppet. It is not if they have guardianship over it. Alok's not my favorite person, but he understands that 2 people under sanctions don't make for a good, cohesive international economic position for both countries. So the Central Bank of Iraq imposes guard. I told you that. Investment law. I've been looking for that. The investment law, simply to you guys, is the name of the people the Presidency Council pursues to what was approved by the Council represented and endorsed by. So they have so many things, but the investment law basically means it promotes investments and transfers modern technologies in order to contribute to the process of developing and enhancing Iraq and expanding and diversify its products and basic services. It encourages Iraq and foreign and private sector to invest in Iraq by providing required facilities for established investment projects, enhancing its competitive capabilities in local and foreign markets. To project included this law. Now, going back to the investment law, a lot of people have been talking about this, and I call this a Dinarian's New Year's, which is March 31st. Basel III Basel III will be implemented by March 31st. So I'm going to pose a question to you guys. How many of you guys believe in a gold-based standard? How many of you don't? I don't care if you do or don't. I just want you to leave a comment down there whether you do or don't. And let's talk about it, because that's a big question for me tonight. March 31st, the U.S., that means banks over an asset of basically $500 million are going to have some type of asset bank, the way I understand it. And I'm not really digging this whole gold. I'm not a big gold person, so I don't believe in gold as being a backbone for any economy, because there's not enough physical gold in the world to do it. Now, Luther's going to argue with me. A lot of people are going to argue with me. I just disagree with it. It doesn't mean I'm right or wrong, but I'm just telling you guys, let's talk about it. Now, if you comment on this video, you like, comment, and you're a subscriber of the video, and you win, and you just say gold back or not gold back, and it happens March 31st, I'm going to give away a Astros t-shirt. I brought home some, so you can give away one too. Okay? I'm going to give away an Astros t-shirt. Just comment on here, gold back, no gold back. We'll find out what happens March 31st. That means April 1 on Monday's show. We'll give away a T-shirt to the winner of that, and I'll have Miss BB help me with that. The amendment laws got the Iraqi budget laws got amended for 2019. He pointed out that the Qatari delegation came to Baghdad to promote cooperation between the two countries. I said this on Twitter. I want to see Qatar, Saudi Arabia. I want to see Israel. I want to see Jordan. I want to see everybody but Iran in these trade talks for the next couple of days. We need a stronger foothold. Saudi Arabia, Israel, Jordan, and Qatar in trade talks with Iraq to see our blessing. I think that. Trade Minister discussed the activation of investment fall between two countries. We talked about that. The sanctions imposed on Tehran have reflected, and you could tell that because they ran to Iraq. They've never been there in several years. The new president only been there once. But those sanctions are hitting a big, big claim against Tehran because they're running scared. Now, another thing important is that all that oil that Tehran pumps out, 5 of the 8 tankers that they, let me read this from the beginning. The data on identification systems show that they use only 5 LS-16 carriers are over 19 years of age, 3 of them in service since 1996, while the tankers sat off the coast of China last year after coddling with another carrier. Iran's options for replacing the depleted fleet. So basically, even though Iran can pump oil out, they can't store it in tankers to sell to somebody else. That's another pinch. Now, more sanctions were supposed to take place here recently to make it even tougher on them to sell Tehran oil, which is good for us. Maliki's coalition, Sadr responded to the Maliki coalition. I thought this was a pretty good article, and the reason for it is Sadr hates Maliki, and I hate Maliki too. I don't hate anybody, but I just really dislike this guy. And so that they're trying to come up with an alliance of the conquest. And he pointed out that the members of the House of Representatives are determined to provide the cabinet at the next season. I know you guys could see it maybe on the last thumbnail, but the guy that I posted was supposed to be the new or the proposed new guy for the Interior Minister. The title of the show is, of course, One More Piece to the Puzzle. Abadi got accused of tightening on Iran. Yeah, Abadi, you guys, if you don't know it, he was an idiot, and he was probably a stick in the mud about a lot of things, but he was one thing. He was an American sympathizer. People may not like him. I thought he was weak. He loved America. He believed in America helping out Iran, and he begged him for money, and he was in America's good graces until Abadi got mad at him. But you got to understand that a lot of these Iraqis say that because he did that, it made doing business with Tehran a lot harder. The head of the Iraqi Chamber of Commerce, Hamid Hussein, said the Prime Minister Abdul Mahdi was resentful of the policies of the Central Bank of Iraq during the era of Abadi, which was strict on the control of the remnants. Now, I said this during Twitter. You got one guy, which was Abadi, who was really loose and lenient with America. You got another guy, Mahdi, who seems to be an Iranian sympathizer, or at least that's what he's kind of proving to be with picks like Fiad and these other people that aren't necessarily the best picks, in my opinion, to run the government. Which is worse? A government that's sympathizing to America but doesn't revalue the currency, or an Iranian sympathizer that still doesn't revalue the currency? They're both bad. That's my point. The United States controls more than 40% of the world's economy. That's why the dollar won't fail, and the internal financial institutions. A member of the Finance Committee of Iraq Parliament, the warning of the Iraqi government that Iran's economic support will severely damage the Iraqis' higher interest. Remember, every time that Iraq does business with Iran, the United States make a note of it. You did this deal. You did that deal. They're watching them super closely. So don't misunderstand Iran taking over. Then America's watchful eye over Iran, but thus stimulating Iraq's economy without us having to infuse cash into it. So we're using a way to get money into the economy without having to use our own, and I think that's a good thing. It's a smart play on our part. And you can tell by the Iran's embrace of Iraq shows U.S. sanctions are working. Yeah, I just told you that. Saudi, in the interest of America, needs to step up its influence in the region. The trade exchange between those two had a big conference this weekend. Saudi Arabia's Trade and Investment Minister, Qasibi, said during talks with Iraq counterpart in Baghdad, the level of trade exchange between Saudi Arabia and Iraq does not rise to the level of bilateral relations between the two countries. That relationship needs to rise. It needs to get better. The visit of the Saudi delegation to Iraq was fruitful and successful. We need to see that equate into, I guess, what they like to call MOUs. I don't like MOUs, but they need to have some of those MOUs signed and get going. I want to see Saudi stimulate the economy big time. Now, the Central Bank of Iraq Tuesday joined the Sustainability Network and the IFC. The Central Bank has joined the IFC Sustainability Network. We talked about that the other day. In order to keep it abreast of the international developments in the field, the bank announced it's joining the IFC Sustainability Network, which includes several countries developed and developing in order to implement the principles of sustainability mentioned in the corporate governance. They have 9 basic principles. Their business activities, business processes, human rights, economic empowerment for women, financial inclusiveness, which is one thing we always talk about. More Iraqis need to go to the bank, governance, capacity building, collaborative partnerships. After accusing him of returning U.S. forces to Iraq, a body coalition response to the opening, your leader, know who brought you back. Again, that's Mahdi trying to attack a body, saying that he's the one who brought back Iran, but it's not true. Mahdi is a sympathizer of Iran, and I think that Abadi did a really good job of getting them out of Iran, out of there after Nur al-Maliki all but basically submitted to Iran, who is ultimately the bad guy in all this and needs to have his butt kicked. The dams. Now, this is very important because summer's approaching. The dams in the region are filled for the first time in 25 years. So there's going to be plenty of water for the Iraqi people coming up in the summertime. Looks like this is the first time ever in over 25 years, 2 decades, that they've had more than enough water to help the people. Iraqi builds a relationship on the basis of supreme interest. Now, this is the whole thing. They had this U.S. delegation that came in there that said, hey, look, we really support you guys and everything. And then Iraq comes back with this really weak answer of, the meeting reviewed the latest political and security developments at the Arab regional levels and stressed their need to achieve peace and stability and find solutions to the crises and conflicts that plague the region. Well, one of the crises and conflicts that plagues the region is Iran. The number 2 one is that you don't have a currency that's internationally exchanged. And number 3, you have a problem with you have to stabilize your private sector and get your people to work. So I guess if Iraq worked in Iraq and really truly believed on helping its own people, those things are going to come to fruition. And that's why you see them in the news. I'm not down on Iraq. I'm actually super high on Iraq right now. I'm glad to see these things come out because I hadn't seen them in a long time. That's why I don't report a lot of the news I read, because I want to see it 2 or 3 times in writing of what's going on. Oh, yes. And so like that picture I told you guys, the guy's name is General Abdul Ghani al-Assadi. He's going to hopefully be up for the Minister of Interior, and a guy named Salah al-Harari. I couldn't find a picture of him. There wasn't a lot out there about him, but Ghani's been around for a long time. Major military influence. He was the counterterrorism guy for a long time. He's legit I think he's a pretty good guy. And the Assadi is considered the current favorite. So that guy's picture that I use, can you use that again for the thumbnail later, I guess? He is the current favorite. Sorry, I didn't find a picture of. The investment in Iraq education and training went on this weekend. The Parliament told the Finance Committee, take those U.S. threats seriously. America's not playing about their money, and they're not playing about their investment in Iraq. Iraq better get with it and understand that if you keep messing with these boys, they will rain hellfire on you. I don't believe this article, but it says here, Iran's special envoy to Iran said there will be new and tough sanctions to be imposed on Iran. Now that I do believe. But they also pointed out that if they keep doing the business they're doing, that they will impose sanctions on Iraq. I believe that if and only if they do something that's blacklisted. Now, this is something I thought was very interesting because Iran has a very sophisticated drone network. Iraq just set up along the borders of Syria, and that's northern Iraq, some camera systems. So when people talk about walls not working, walls work. Washington warns of the black banks. We talked about that. The Parliamentary Finance Committee called on the federal government to take America threats dealing on Baghdad seriously. And we've already talked about that. Okay, Tehran does not want its people to know where the state money goes, but you know where it goes? To militias, to terrorism, to crap, to funding nuclear warfare, to a bunch of stuff that doesn't make any sense. That's where it goes. The U.S. sanctions deprive the Iranian government of its income. It uses to destabilize the region. See, you know what Iran is? Iran is like the little brother that's undersized that always gets picked on. And see, what he does is he just goes to the other brothers and sisters in the region and starts crap. But the United States has come in as the big uncle and put the smack down on them and told them that they're going to leave people alone, and that's a good thing. I hope President Trump keeps that foot down on the Iranian butt to not allow them nuclear powers because they don't deserve it, and number two, that they understand that Tehran is a major destabilizer in the Iraqi region. This is the article I was telling y'all. It's not wise to go in the direction of the destruction for Iran or neighboring countries, and Iraq must realize the magnitude of the American threat and seriousness against Iran. About 6 banks will be among the sanctions on Iran next June, as well as the imposition of further sanctions on Iraq if they deal with them. Now remember, that's going off into June. Hopefully this will all be over before then. And that is the news. Now, I want to get back to this Basel III thing. March 31st is Basel III. If you believe in gold out there, gold's currently selling about $1,300 an ounce. There's pros and cons about the gold standard out there. I'm against the gold standard as a whole.
What's Basel III?
Basel III is a banking institution that allows banks to have an asset-type banking system that goes against it. It limits the amount of exposure they have because they have assets to offset it. So I'm all about that. It's kind of like trade. You have a good, currency so that it offsets your trade. If it goes out, it's not too high. If it comes in, it's not too low. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I agree with the gold standard to a certain point, but to a certain point, I don't believe there's enough physical gold in the world or bullion. Sorry, guys, I don't. I don't believe there's enough physical gold or bullion in the world for that to happen. And number two, gold would have to certainly reach $10,000 an ounce. At $1,300 between now and March 31st, it may happen. Pin Pie, tell me what Basel III is, because I have it right here too. Basel III is this. Basel III. Okay, so I'll read you guys what it says. You can take it for what it's worth. This is from Palisade. Monetary policy is largely responsible for market conditions that we have today, whether we like them or not. Gold was formally demonetized. Seriousness. Basel is supposed Committee on Banking Standards scrap the old Basel II framework and put in place a plan that will fully realize in all SIFIs banks by 2019, which is supposed to happen by basically, gold is going to have to help stabilize their marketplaces. During the last gold bull market, 2001 to 2011, it behaved very much like a commodity and was highly correlated to the commodity bull market as it rose to 350 from 1,900 an ounce. I don't think it'll hit 10,000 an ounce. I just don't see it happening.
Kevin says Basel III means bank can't count liabilities as assets.
Correct. That's basically what it is. And that's the other part that I argue, that Basel III didn't argue the whole thing about gold. Hang on. 3 definition. Basel III by definition. Basel III is a global voluntary regulatory framework on the bank capital adequacies, stress testing, and market liquidity risk. This third installment of Basel Accords was developed in response to the deficiencies in financial regulations revealed in financial crisis of 2007-2008. So, if you think Basel's going to happen, put gold standard. If you don't, put no gold. At the end of this video, I'll let it go until Wednesday. Whoever puts it in the live comments or in the non-live comments.
It has to be in the comments.
The regular comments. So after this video is done, you got to go in the regular comments. Make sure you are a subscriber to the channel. You got to put gold or no gold. Whoever wins, March 31st, I'm going to give you a Astros t-shirt. And I'll show it on Wednesday's video. I just didn't bring it up because I thought we were going to have plenty of time. So, with that, we talked about Basel. We talked about a giveaway, 50,000 giveaway. As soon as I hit 4,000 subscribers, I'm going to do the giveaway for 5,000 subscribers. We're going to give away $50,000, 50,000 dinars. And
did you talk about the whole controversy about the revaluation with the Iraq thing? Like what other people are talking about? Because somebody mentioned it. That's what I asked this question.
I don't know. I don't understand what the question is.
Okay, let me go back. I'll pull it up for
please,
you.
because I don't know.
Because they're saying that the dinar isn't going to revalue in relation to Iran and Iraq teaming up together. Yeah.
I could kind of agree with that. I don't think Iran and Iraq are going to revalue because there's a superpower together. One of them's sanctioned and one of them's not. So that makes you a half-legged horse in a long race. You see what I'm saying? Miss Turner, I like platinum too and uranium. Every single channel has said today that the RV was never meant to happen. But this channel, 6 different channels all said there won't be an RV, and now Iraq and Iran are teaming up. That alone. Q Frank will also tell you that there's a lot of these gurus out here that are getting sued. And I'll also tell you this. The RV is never going to happen because there's no such thing as a RV. It's the currency's going to reinstate. Now, whether it reinstates for $1 or it reinstates for a quarter or it reinstates for $5 or $8 remains to be seen. But to be international and to be a part of the WTO and to be a part of the world trade and everything else, you got to have an instated currency. So I don't care what your other favorite guru told you today. That's not my business. My business is to tell you what I know because I just read it to you. If you read stuff like that, then you probably ought to take your dinar and give them back or just give them to me. I'll hold them till it reinstates, and then I'll give you what I feel is nominal off of that. Because I know you don't believe in the investment and you're just trolling. Michelle IQD is going to Iraq. It has nowhere else to go. Don't believe all the... Yeah, Michelle Johnson's absolutely right. You can't be a part of the WTO. OPEC's only going to allow them to trade their currency on that OPEC stage, not being international for so long because they can't do business with everybody because you can't pay them. Number 2, they want all these foreign investment people to come in there and trade with them. You can't do it because you can get money in, but you can't get money out. ISX is on NASDAQ. I don't know what is this dude's name? Frank, Q Frank? Q Frank, call me. Why doesn't Q Frank pick up the phone? Babe, post my phone number. Y'all shout Q Frank out. Have him call me. What do you mean this channel? I don't know what channel you subscribe to. You're probably one of those people that's in my comment section that says, for 13 years, I've been listening to these idiots. I didn't tell you to listen to these people for 13 years. I just started this channel 3 months ago because I was tired of listening to them for 10 years. So I'm sorry that you guys feel a little disdain in my voice, but I'll put a lot of stock into people that type are computer gangsters but won't call. Pick up the phone and call Q Frank. I'm calling you out. But a lot of people that don't call, they like to make comments after the fact. I just delete them because you know what? Your argument is based upon nothingness. Your favorite guru, and I ain't no guru. Never planned to be. I'm just reading the articles and based upon those facts, telling you what's gonna happen. Now I can't tell you gold's gonna be a standard because I don't believe in it. I can't tell you that magic Martians and dragons are gonna come down here and dance, and the dragon family's gonna make sure you get your money. And I can't tell you that a group's gonna make sure your NDAs all stay in place when you already told me you had an NDA, therefore you violated it. The only thing I can tell you is the Iraqi dinar will reinstate. That's what value? I don't know.
We got 3 minutes.
No, I don't. I'm going longer because it started late.
My phone may die because it's fueling the mic. Just so you know.
Well, then I'm going till the mic cuts off.
Okay.
I can't cut them off. Last week I cut them off. They got mad about that. Platinum is higher than gold in value for the first time. Well, that's good, Pim. Hey, babe. Hi. Love that. Dongavelli. 1 ounce of gold can be 1 million for STD. For an STD, I don't know. I don't think it could be 1 million, not at all. It's not that valuable. Greetings. Plutonium is. There's another one that's super high value, but not gold. Ringing the ding dong. Yeah, I'm ringing it too. We the train Iraq. Yep. Brando, I'm going to take all your unused cuss words and go on a major rant. Seamus, please, I am trying not to cuss, y'all. Baby even told me the other day, and Mama told me the other day, I ain't cussing. No one's going to get me out of my character to cuss. But, Seamus, you know, when we get online later on, I'm going to cuss like a sailor. Mr. Brando, that's not what Basel III is. I know, I just explained to you in rigid definition. You'll school me on it? Please do. What happened to Vic? You know what, y'all? Vic never called back. I don't know. You know what? Vic may have been trolling. You know what I mean? He may have just liked to hear himself on the radio. I don't know. I know some people really supported Vic, like Josh. He never called me back. He never gave me any more information. I don't know if he's hurt, if he's okay. I pray he is. I supported Vic, so I don't know what's going on. Hey, Fidel Castro, you got home late. Yeah, you're still in jail. You post in the comments already. Good, Pim. You can win a shirt. Fidel. Hey, babe. Basel III means banks can't count liabilities as assets. Well, you shouldn't be able to count liabilities as an asset anyway. It limits your amount of exposure to those liabilities, I know. Okay, I'm done too much. I don't know what you're done too much with, Repsud. $60K an ounce if necessary to go back to back currency. Yeah, Jack, you'd have to show me that. I'm not doubting you. You probably read it. I'm just saying not where. Yeah, babe, hit the like, comment, and subscribe. You got to be subscribed to the channel to win these things. We're giving away a whole bunch. Basel III is transparency. I believe that. Only 70 likes. That's it. Oh, we got one dislike. That's usual. We usually get like 10. One of these local trolls out here for somebody else doing their thing. Pim, you can call. Someone post the phone number. Pim can call. I know you know. If you want to call me, call me. Metroid Brawl, the dong. Greg Morris, good job. Hit the subscribe too. Y'all got to subscribe to win. The dong can't go because it's a closed market society, and I really believe that they're trying to find their way after the trade agreement with China. If China comes to America and there's a big trade agreement, expect the dong to go. If you don't see a big trade agreement with China, then don't expect the dong to go. I'm just being honest with you. Fidel said it right. You can pull up daily ISX reports. You surely can. Linda Jackson. Ooh, Jackson out there. What about derivatives? Tina, I'm being really honest out there. The more and more I think about it, I think about, this is my rant. I told you guys, I look at the dinar itself as being a fundamental basis as a derivative to fund the ISX. I know that's not what people want to hear, but I really think that's why these large institutions bought it. A whole lot easier to get your money out of a stock market, especially during a huge bull run from 10 to 25 years. Get it? Than a one-time currency exchange, if you think about it. You know what I'm saying? Not saying I'm right or wrong. I'm just saying it's easier. Stock dividends. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of them. Pim, gold. There you go. Would it surprise me if it did, RV? You mean totally revalue at a higher number? Metro, I'd dance a happy dance on top of this table. For real. Yeah, Gabe, you know I'm going to preach it. You know I have to. Me too. Gold standard. Hey, comment in the comment section. Not here. You got to comment in the comment section. If you believe in that gold standard, gold wins. Gold ain't going to win, y'all. I'm telling y'all. Sal's balls. There goes Santino. I work with Santino. Sal's balls. There goes Santino. Santino got that dinar. I know he's holding it. Him and his wife got that big money. Eugene. Hey, how you doing, Eugene? Michelle Johnson, I believe like you do. Tony, you know what, y'all? I want you all to... this is a big discussion. April, do you like the gold standard as a whole? Or do you really know about it? If you don't, it's cool, but...
Yeah, I don't really know about it.
I don't believe in the gold standard. I just think that's why you got off it. You think these crooked bankers are going to... I want to beat them at their own game, which is getting my money out. You're not going to start a gold standard and then have enough wealth in the world to supply all the money supply. There's not enough physical gold above or below the earth. I'm sorry. I know y'all going to say you can explain it. Explain all you want, but currency backed by gold, backed by cryptocurrency, I can see it. Backed by physical currency now. Where's Q Frank? Q Frank, where you at? Frank ain't gonna call. Cowardness. I'm telling y'all, they ain't gonna call. It's like all these people in the thing. They go in there, they comment out. Maybe this is Frank. Please be Frank. Hello?
Fidel Castro.
Oh, it's Fidel. The Bay of Pigs. For all I don't remember. Hello?
Hello, Mr. B.
Hey, what's going on, Fidel Castro?
Well, I wanted to talk to you about the ISX, if you've got a moment.
Brother, I got more than a moment. Please enlighten me.
Okay, I've seen a lot of questions and people want answers on what and where to find out information on the ISX. And I'm sending them to a website that the ISX posts every day. And they can see the stock prices daily. Okay, I've been in the ISX for 10 years now. Yeah. So they're asking about dividends and profits, and they have to look at the announcements section on that website and learn how to find the information they're looking for. You're going to take a little bit of homework on their own.
Well, right on then.
It's posting daily results.
Okay.
And it's all positive.
And what's the website?
Now, my bank has gone under, so I'm kind of frozen right now to do anything more because I'm with Walker Bank. And your club is going through a different broker, and I recommend everyone to get in through El Kamal right now.
Okay.
Walker is frozen.
Okay.
And what's the website?
We think Walker's going to come out of suspension in a couple of weeks, by the end of the month, hopefully, and they'll be back in action. But Al Kamal is active right now.
Okay, well, can you tell Ms. Bibi the website to type it in?
Yes, it's www.isx-iq.net.
Okay.
And it's going to be in Arabic, but there's a prompt up at the top left-hand corner of the page that translates it all into English.
Okay, thank you. Well, hey, bro, I'm not trying to cut you short, but I got to cut these calls short tonight because we're on a cell phone. It's limited time, okay? But call back Wednesday when we got everything else set up. Let's talk about ISX.
My yellow shirt is screwing up YouTube.
Man, can you see this yellow shirt today? This is crazy. All right, y'all. Thanks, Fidel Castro. Yeah, someone just said, I don't think Q Frank was getting smart. Well, if he was getting smart or not getting smart, all I asked him to do was call in. Oh, yeah. Gold standard is what? Not enough gold. I believe that too. And you know what? That's the whole thing. You got to put in the comments section, gold or no gold. March 31st, our countdown. Whatever happens, happens. Remember, and when we go from March to April, from April 1 to 23 is my 23-day countdown to find out the real purpose for the Iraqi dinar. By April 23rd, I'll know the real reason. Hopefully by then, we'll see these ISX being launched, the private sector being launched. Hopefully we'll see the gold standard enacted, whatever that means. Or we'll see these new currency notes that the lower denominations and everything else that's going to be put out by the CBI. Gold wins. Thank you, Tom R. Sauce Balls. Michelle. Tony, and you know what, y'all? Listen, I tell this to my people. I'm going to tell it to y'all. I'm not so smart that I'm always going to be right. If the gold standard wins, I don't mind giving away a shirt. I'm still winning. I'm not dumb. I want a prosperous America. I want a prosperous Iraqi community, Iraqi Dinarian community, especially the ones that listen to our show, because I want you guys to win, because if you win, I win. That's why someone put on there's a lot of commercials. There's a motive here. Yeah, the motive is to pay for the lights and the camera and the everything else, because it ain't free. If it was free, then anybody would give you this info. But I depend on you guys to watch it so I can give you guys the information you need. And then that way we can have a discussion. And when you discuss things, you learn things. If you can't talk about it and not get shunned or shut out, then you'll never learn. Everybody has to make mistakes. What about the Zim? Rosella? Zim's not looking so good because of the United States sanctions. You think Tina thinks it's going back to the gold, the China trade deal? Well, China has already teamed up with Russia, and they say they want to come out with a gold standard, but they're not. They're not. China's bought a bunch of gold. Russia bought more gold than anybody last year, but the ruble's broke and China's broke. So what going back to the gold standard for two undervalued currency is going to help them at all? Explain that one to me. So if you got China who's broke and Russia who's broke, goes on gold standard. So now you have an undervalued currency. What are you going to have, an undervalued currency that's worth gold? What sense does that make? You guys got to come up with an argument for me on that one because I've read a little bit too much about it. You're right, Destiny Fly. I've read this. I understand how it works. America going to the gold standard for what? We already control 40% of the world economy. What do we care if everybody else is on par with us? Why do I want to give my enemy any leverage? That makes no sense. You guys explain it to me. Transparency of these bad bankers? Well, then how come the elites out there are smiling where we're trying to get to, and that us who are trying to get there are trying to get there? The only way that's going to happen is if the private sector is launched and the dinar is reinstated. Then you are on par with most of your elites. Because I will venture to tell you that because of speculation, a lot of these people are not invested in the Iraqi dinar. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. Oh, Octavia, it might have been just a question, but you know what? He put it in there 2 or 3 times, and I'm asking him to call. Don't type it, call.
To accept, press 1.
Well, let's see who this is, y'all. I hope this is Frank.
This is a Q, Frank, that's for sure.
Frank, what's up, man?
This is a different Frank. We chit-chatted a bit for the other day, but I was just kind of just reassuring that I don't know if you've ever heard of Militia Man or Frank 26 or a couple of those gurus, but they're all pretty much saying the same thing you're saying, which is there's no such thing as an RI. But there should be or not an RI, an RV, sorry.
Did I misunderstood
you?
You?
No such thing as an RV, but there should be an RI, but nobody knows what it's going to RI at because it's up in the air.
Then Frank, I'm just going to sit here right now. You know what I'm going to tell you? I'm going to give you a giant I am sorry. I thought you were being a smart butt, but you weren't. You're exactly saying the thing I am. There is no such thing as an RV. There's no such thing.
Yeah, no. The two Frank you're talking about, I did see his responses and I did notice them. But of course, he hasn't been back on there. I'm a different Frank. When you talked to me last time, I made a quick response and he kind of responded back to me, which was kind of cool. But I'm new to the whole thing. See, my brother's in this. My brother's is in the dinar as well because he's from the service. And he first initially bought his when he was stationed over there. So
okay,
he's back here. And so he's been, pushing it and telling me, hey, you know what, this things are really looking forward to moving. And he said that there isn't an RV. It's going to be of course, a reinstatement because, of course, how in the world are they going to be in the NASDAQ and not have anything to back it up as far as to what I understand? Because, like I said, this is all new to me.
No, bro, and I got to hang up with you just because, and I'll explain it to you before you hang up, okay? Currency out there that trades upon the premise of something, right? It's backed by something, whether it's the back of man, like the dollar, or it's based upon, let's just say, fruits and vegetables, like some countries, I'm sure. It's backed by something. When somebody says that the fiat currency is dead, I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying gold is its derivative to save it. There's not enough physical gold in the world to save it. There's just not. Because you can't fractional bank gold. If anything goes back to fractional banking, and that's where the wealth comes down. So when everybody says, well, I'm rich, I got $100. Okay, well, if houses then at that point are like $15,000 or $20,000, do you see the greedy bankers doing that to undo a system they've already undone?
Right.
Doesn't make a lot of sense when you think about it like that.
Yeah, and that's what my brother was saying. He says that of course Iraq is one of the richest countries due to the fact that everything, in order to back everything up, they would rely on their oil, their gold, and everything else that they've got. Not just specifically one thing.
It'll be accumulation of all those things. But that's when you say asset bank, it can't be 100% gold, it can't be 100% silver. It's like me telling you, it has to be backed by other things.
And that's what he was explaining to me, and When I ran across your YouTube at one time, I was really interested in intrigued of everything you got going on, because there is a lot of back and forth, and a lot of people saying no this, no that. But like I said, my brother relies on a gentleman by militiamen, and it's mainly because he's got ties to base over there.
Right.
And whatever gets said, he's like, those are the people you listen to. You don't listen to a bunch of that other crap, like you were saying.
Well, thank you, my brother. I got to run right here, but I appreciate you, okay?
Yeah, for sure, all day.
Thank you, brother. Call me back anytime. And I apologize to you. I thought you were the other Frank. I didn't mean to do that to you. But I am calling out Frank, too. I don't care what everybody says. I'm calling him out. Thanks. I want to hear his explanation, because it's funny to be an internet gangster, but you ain't no real dude if you don't call me. I'm live. I ain't running. I'm too fat to run fast, and I don't hide well, y'all. Okay. Bye, brother. Bye.
I need to start getting ready for work.
All right. I know, Dan. The trolls are out there. They're everywhere. I don't mind dealing with a few of them. This one decided to get cute on live, so we dealt with him. He's over. Yeah, big picture is the RI isn't eventful. Penn just posted what Basel III is. He'll probably put it on Facebook, too. He's a good man. Anthony says he wants a Met shirt. Good. You guys, I've gone. How long has this gone? Have we given them the hour?
Mm-hmm.
You guys, I've given you guys your hour. We did the live chat. We didn't hit 600, so we didn't give away the tumbler. But remember to put in here on the comments, not in the live chat, on the comments. Goal, no goal, March 31st. I'm giving away an actual shirt. I'm going to show it next show. We're calling out all the haters. We're giving out all the news. We got the best call-in service anywhere. And yeah, it's different. These guys can say it ain't different, but we're doing things. We're having a lot of fun. We're going to do some giveaways, because you know what? We gotta do something to keep this live and keep our spirits up until we see these blessings. March 31st hits. We're on a 23-day countdown to find out what the true value of the dinar is. I love you guys. I will see you guys on Wednesday. Peace. That giant globe's awesome.